And moving to North America, a bombshell report by the United Nations has slammed Canada for being a breeding ground for modern-day slavery. The report says Canada's temporary foreign worker program favors employers and locks migrants into debt bondage. The Canadian scheme lets companies control the workers' housing, health care, and migration status, preventing them from seeking better-paying jobs in the country. Here's our report with more details about Canada's flawed migrant worker program.
The exploitative practice of slavery has been abolished across the world over the past 2 centuries. Still, the dehumanizing trade exists in one form or the other, ranging from forced labor to debt bondage to sex trafficking. And one of the many countries harboring this extreme form of oppression is Canada. United Nations investigator Tomoya Obokata has published explosive details about the discriminatory practices and deep power imbalances in Canada that favor companies and prevents employees from exercising their rights. Obokata claims Canada's reliance on temporary foreign workers is breeding ground for modern-day slavery. Canada has a program for non-Canadians that brings them to the country to work on a temporary basis. This was initially meant to fill labor shortages, but has grown dramatically over the years. The program is now under fire for suppressing wages and leaving workers vulnerable to abuse. To study this decades-old program closely, the UN Special Investigator toured Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, and Moncton. He found that employers across Canada heavily rely on workers from Mexico, Guatemala, and Jamaica. These workers mostly work in agriculture, fast food, healthcare, and construction sectors and are often locked in debt bondage. They borrow money to participate in the program and depend on their Canadian wages to repay accrued debts. The program also ties the work permits of these migrants to a specific employer, and that employer controls the workers' housing, healthcare, and migration status. So if the workers are fired, they may be deported back to their home countries. This prevents them from seeking better paying jobs in Canada. Obokata's report further alleges that foreign workers experience a wide range of abuses in the country. This includes physical and emotional abuse, racism, hazardous work conditions, long hours, limited breaks, wage theft, and even sexual harassment. Meanwhile, the Canadian police failed to take these complaints seriously and reports these workers to immigration authorities rather than probing the matter. Canada's Immigration Minister Mark Miller has responded to this UN report, saying the worker program is not fatally flawed but needs to be reformed, although he called the slavery characterization inflammatory. Last year, Canada approved over 230,000 temporary foreign workers into the country, which was more than double that it hired in 2018. And now, with the United Nations recommending a permanent residence to these workers as the only way to avoid the contemporary forms of slavery, Canada has to take action to stop the abuse now.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
Kamala, you're fired!
I say, bring it on.
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree. One tree for humanity. One tree for Mother Earth. One tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment. So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished. On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can we expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live